It is time for another viewer match, and what I got for you today is a Gold League Zerg versus Terran. Spawning in the top left corner of Abyssal Reef LE, playing with the red drones, we have got none other than the player known by the name of Valmalisk. Valmalisk, it sounds like a Zerg unit, and his opponent spawning in the cross position and playing with the blue Terran SCV. He's got a cute little cardboard star right next to his command center, and he goes by the nickname of Zuki. Now, like I mentioned, this is going to be a Gold League Zerg versus Terran. That does mean that this is indeed going to be a replay submitted by a viewer. Now, if you've got a crazy game yourself as well that you think I should go ahead and cover on the YouTube channel too, go ahead and submit the file to replays@LowkoTV, and I may very well end up casting your match here too. Now, it looks like Valmalisk, he's opening up with a very quick gas geyser, and I can't help but notice that there's already a little drone trying to make its way across the map. I'm not entirely sure what he's got in store for us here today, but it does look like he's heading for the third base location here of the Terran player. Now, notice here, he's actually going to be making a hatchery. I was going to say, I don't know if he's going to make a hatchery here, but that is extremely close to the Terran command center. This is easily scouted as well, and one of the things that always throws me off just a little bit is that when a Terran player, you know, gets a siege tank up on his high ground, good luck trying to get anything out of that expansion here, because usually the shells are going to be able to reach pretty much everything that is going to be available in this area. Now, we'll have to keep an eye out on exactly what his plan is going to be, because so far, it does look like he's just simply getting a spawning pool on the other side of the map. Terran player at this point in the game doesn't know about this whatsoever just yet, but he isn't going for a super quick command center. Instead, he's following this up with a factory, and of course, he's already producing something out of the barracks as well. Actually opting to go for a Marine here. No Reaper Scout, which is the gold standard in the Zerg versus Terran matchup, just because she gets so much information. And actually, Zuki here picking up the gases very early on as well as landing that mule right next to the mineral patch. Little known fact, you actually gotta land it on top of the mineral patch. It helps a lot. Anyway, apparently, and this is actually rather annoying here for the Zerg player, the Marine did end up finding the very first Overlord. And this Overlord, in particular when you're cheesing your opponent with a Proxy Hatchery, is very important. Since you're gonna be playing off of a very small economy, you need to make sure that you deal with the Overlords early on very, very closely. Now, so far, the Overlord is actually gonna try and make its way out of there. He's trying to juke the Terran Marine right now to hopefully keep it alive for a little while longer. And actually, Zuki the Marine does not get tricked that easily, and he will find the Overlord, and he will indeed be able to pick that one up with relative ease. I thought for a second that he was just going to walk past it, but no, he is going to shoot it down. Now, there's a lair going up here for Valmalisk. He's got that hatchery already done. He's only producing a spore crawler here. This is still gone unscouted for the time being. Zuki doesn't know that this is up, but I really wonder what he's gonna do with this. Is he just simply gonna start mining from this expansion? I mean, judging by that spore crawler, it certainly looked like that is going to be the case. There's an Overlord now hanging out over here as well, but I was making the assumption that there would be a quick follow-up with, for example, a Roach Warren to potentially start making units very close to his opponent's base. But no, so far, Zuki should be able to see this, right? Yeah, so far, this is not really achieving a whole lot just yet. Terran Marine, though, the one that gunned down... Actually, no, there's a different one. The one that did not quite gun down on Overlord is gonna try and make its way towards this, I guess, expansion of the Zerg player. Now, two Zerglings do pop up, out here in the nick of time, but already on that production tab, Zuki has been watching some innovation games. He is gonna go ahead and build up two Banshees at once. On top of that, there's already a siege tank up on his high ground as well, and that queen is gonna have a very hard time because, you know, that siege tank will get repaired here as well by the SCV. And while apparently the Spine Crawler will try and get close here, he's just simply gonna unsiege, and he will be able to get rid of that Spine Crawler with relative ease as well. This is starting to look a little bit funny here for Valmalisk. I mean, in the meantime, at home, he is going for an infestation pit. So maybe he's rushing up towards a hive or something along those lines. I mean, he could use the infestation pit to go for infestors or maybe even swarm host if he really wants to. But at this point, it's starting to look a little bit funny here already. Now, Zuki, he is indeed opening up with that double starport. This is a build that Innovation has been going for recently. Now, Innovation did go for a variant of this build where he basically goes up to a quick 3 command centers anyway. No additional command centers to be seen anywhere just yet from Zuki. But he is looking like he may very well be trying to go for the counterattack here with these 2 Banshees, which I do think is going to be the correct decision. At the same time, though, oh my god, there's actually 5. I can't believe it. There's actually 5 swarm hosts right now on the production tab. That's absolutely insane. Now, there are 2 siege tanks as well, shelling away at all of this stuff. These locusts, though, they can do a stupid amount of damage. No, not the whole army, hotkey. Not worth it right there, my man. And he's going to be able to actually kill both of these siege tanks very, very easily. At the same time, though, on the other side of the map, the 2 Banshees have arrived, and there is absolutely nothing available here for defense just yet. I mean, Burrow is being researched, which is all fine and dandy, but I think that these drones are gonna have a very hard time. Although so far, these Banshees are not quite being controlled just yet. Valmalisk is actually sending the drones, you can see that little counter right there on top of the hatchery, to the other side of the map. So I guess that he plans on mining from his opponent's 3rd base here for at least a little while. He's got to be careful, though, because these Banshees are going to have a very easy time against these queens if they do end up spawning here. Now, a 2nd queen is just about to join in as well. Spore Crawler being morphed here, too. Apparently, that 1 queen did not want to go out without at least hitting that drone for a couple of moments. Although that queen that did just reinforce this hatchery ended up killing the Banshee. And for now, it looks like he's going to be reasonably safe. Now, it looks like the swarm hosts have been able to do some damage right here at the front as well, but in the meantime, on the other side of the map, I mean, the Banshees are going to town and they are having a very, very nice time. Just simply picking up everything that they can find. There is the forced infestation pit now on the other side of the map as well, and, you know, the continued harassment here with Locust, and Locusts do a lot of damage, actually, is starting to look quite nicely. Hold up here for a second. Valmalisk was looking like he was in a very terrifying position, but by burrowing these swarm hosts and by going after all of these SCVs, the Locusts are clearing how. Look at this! Whoa, 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 whoa. He actually has killed every single worker. There are 0 workers remaining here for the Terran player. Now, as scan does go down, these Liberators up in the sky will have a field day there too. And actually, there's another scan available, so it does look like he will just simply scan and confirm that indeed, yes, there are some swarm hosts in this area. He will be able to re-rally the liberation zones here for just a little bit, but not without killing, or not actually while killing one of these swarm hosts. Now, oh man, these swarm hosts are a little bit suicidal, and only one lives to no, never mind. Well, he lived to tell the tale for a little while at least. I guess that these will still get that siege tank though just fine. Look at that. Their damage output is ludicrous. Now, the funny part here is, right, that it's currently 13 workers here in favor of the Zerg player. Disregarding the fact, look at these 2 Locusts, by the way, they deal so much damage. Disregarding the fact, though, that the Zerg doesn't really have a whole lot of anti-air, he's looking in a pretty powerful position. I mean, he's once again remaking his important tech structures, such as, for example, the spawning pool, and he's now also starting to harass a little bit with infestors. Now, the command center is burning right now. I don't really know if he's realizing it. The command center, however, is burning. Okay, no, I was gonna say, if Zuki would not realize that, that command center would eventually burn down and, you know, obviously go up in pieces. So far, though, no detection here at the front, and while there is going to be a missile turret in construction, the infestor is gonna try and move up this ramp. Worst horror movie ever. He's gonna try and sneak in there. Now, I don't know exactly what his plan is. I mean, infested Terrans are fine and dandy. Okay, he's gonna try and, I guess, kill the missile turret. Now, that did not live for very long. Look at that carcass right there of the infestor floating to the surface of Abyssal Reef. At the same time, though, the Banshees have cleaned house on the other side of the map. There's only 2 overlords remaining there. 1 hero marine trying to scout out as well if there are any hidden expansions here for the Zerg player. I think that Zuki will be pleasantly surprised once he realizes that Valmalisk really only has this base going on right now, as well as a base that he took very, very close by. The fact of the matter is, though, that Zuki will shortly start mining out his main base. And really, while he has a couple of workers here, and of course mules as well, he isn't having the easiest game here, that is for certain. Queen is going to be able to run from this Liberator for now. Liberator does pick up a total of 5 kills so far. Spore Crawler, however, tunneling down at a very nice position here, will be able to spot that high ground, and therefore, with the help of that Overlord, of course, and therefore he will be able to do quite a bit more damage. Now, apparently, the 1 Locust is going to go to town once again. It will be able to pick up the SCV that was constructing that depot. At the same time, though, the 2 Banshees have arrived, and they're currently shooting away at that newly acquired expansion here for the Zerg player, and they will be able to pick that up with relative ease. another missile turret does get constructed, but I think that this, yeah, look at that. The first one does indeed end up burning down, and so far, the swarm hosts are actually providing an unusual amount of value here. Usually, you do not see people cheesing with swarm hosts, but they're actually doing a significantly better job than I had anticipated. I mean, so far, if you can force the Terran player here, right, if you're the Zerg in this situation, if you can force it to stay on these bases, you actually have a pretty good chance of potentially dealing a significant amount of damage. Here's the thing though, he really doesn't have any anti-air, right? I mean, he's once again constructing himself a couple of these infestors, and they're gonna be pretty good at, you know, throwing up the infested Terrans, I suppose, but he's gonna have a hard time trying to clean all of this up. And now with the missile turrets in solid positions as well, they're gonna be able to double team quite effectively, and he will not be able to really get that much value out of this anymore. Now, an SCV did make its way over here to this base in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. This is not going to get scouted anytime soon here for the Zerg player in red. So far, actually, the Zerg player doesn't really know about anything out on his map. I mean, he knows that there's 2 Banshees, but that's about it. He does not know whether or not the Natural is going to be taken or whether or not the Terran is mining here whatsoever. I think that he's planning on... Yeah, there we go. He's going to indeed plan on finishing up this command center here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, and with that, he should be in a decent position. So let's talk options here for a second for the Zerg player in red, because really, what is his plan going to be? He's dealing a little bit of damage with the Swarm Host, and he's doing a pretty solid job with them, but what exactly are his options? I think that his best chance right now is to go ahead and see if he can get rid of both of these Banshees. There's a couple of ways he could do so. First off, he can use the Queens, he can use Fungal Growth, he could even go ahead and research Neuroparasite, which I think in these really scrappy, low army situations is a very powerful spell. I think that Neuroparasite definitely does have its place here. I would love to see that at this point in the game. His other option would be to simply go ahead and Fungal Growth these Banshees down and maybe make another Queen or so and get rid of those units once and for all. That way, he's going to be able to secure this expansion with relative ease and continue mining, because this base is shortly going to start running out of resources, and really, economy-wise, Zerg doesn't really have a whole lot. I mean, he does have, you know, 1,200 resources somehow, some way saved up at this point in the game. Not really hitting any of those transfuses, though, so he doesn't really have the larva to spend any of it. But so far, Zuki is eventually going to make its way with the siege tanks towards the edge of his own main base. Plus, very shortly, Zuki will continue mining here for a little while longer. Now, this is another option, I suppose. Valmalisk is getting 2 Dropper Lords. Does he even have Pneumatized Carapace? He does not. So Pneumatized Carapace is, of course, the Overlord speed upgrade. He does not have the Overlord speed upgrade, so I guess that these Overlords eventually will make their way across the map. Could take about another 5 minutes, though. They're not gonna be here anytime soon. And really, now that the mining is shut down here for the Zerg player, I really wonder what his plan is going to be. Once again, though, oh my god, the 2 infestors there at the front there. Oh man, that was really painful. The infestors there just simply got picked off very easily. Of course, with all of this detection here in the form of missile turrets, Zuki could indeed see where those units were burrowed. And now, with a bit of repair micro here as well, that siege tank will live to fight a little while longer. Even the missile turret got a little bit of a touch-up. Did you see that? A bit of a paint job right there. Using their SCV claws to go ahead and, I guess, paint the missile turret for a little while longer. Maybe put in some new screws or whatever. I don't really know exactly what the maintenance of a missile turret would look like. Regardless, though, just continue to harass here with these swarm hosts. And sure, they're picking up a couple of buildings and a couple of units here and there, but really, is it going to be enough? Here's the thing. A new command center has been secured in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. Plus, the Banshees are now going to town on this base, as well as these siege tanks. The siege tanks are doing a good job preventing a lot of this mining. And, I mean, now that the Spore Crawlers have a hard time getting into position once again, because the siege tanks just simply deal so much damage, Liberators coming into the fight as well. I wonder what this is going to look like. Now, for some odd reason, he's sieging up the Liberators right in range of all of those units, and the same can be said for the Banshees. That was probably the worst move that Zuki could have made with those air units there. He quite literally lost as much as he possibly could without really killing anything. Once again, though, Spore Crawlers are inching forward, trying to see if they can do some additional damage. Looks like that one Liberator that's, well, apparently shooting away at the mineral line will end up dying here too. Spy Crawler moving forward. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the proximity on this kind of stuff is. He's going to be able to hit the transfuses. So far, though, that Siege Tank will be able to shell away at it. And I don't think I really need to know whether or not a Siege Tank wins against a Spy Crawler one-on-one. But in case you were wondering, it's going to be the Siege Tank, okay? The Siege Tank just simply deals too much damage there for the Spy Crawler to root in time and then deal damage to it as well. Once again, the group of SCVs performing the Hug of Love, bringing the Siege Tank back to full HP, and you will be able to, you know, continue shelling away at this expansion. Now that the Banshees are dealt with, though, remember the two Spore Crawlers indeed ended up killing 2 Banshees. This base will now be acquired here by Valmalisk. Valmalisk rather, will continue to mine here for a little while longer. Now, for some reason, apparently these drones have got a bit of a death wish. They're trying their very hardest to mine in the most risky position imaginable. There's still 2 Dropper Lords. Nobatai's Carapace was finished up now a little while ago. The 2 Dropper Lords, however, are just simply hanging out here in the corner of the map, not really doing a whole lot. I guess he just really wanted to morph them in and get some additional resources done. Or some additional resources spent, rather. Now, Valmalisk, I mean, he's got a bunch of larvae. He's not really producing a whole lot of anything. He's once again going to continue... He's going to make some drones here. He's going to make some drones. I think that Valmalisk at this point in the game is just simply assuming that there's only a single base up here for that blue Terran player. But he must realize that 16 minutes into this, right, the main base of the Terran will very shortly start mining out. Usually it starts mining out quite a bit sooner than that, depending on where the Terran mules were dropped. But indeed, he's going to transfer all of the workers towards this newly acquired planetary fortress. Or at the very least, maybe he's not. No, he's just going to send all of the workers back towards that single mineral field. That single mineral field is also getting that Hug of Love that we were talking about earlier. Apparently... Only about 2 SCVs can mine this effectively, about 2.5 or so. So, you know, I don't think that these will really get all that much value done. But regardless, there's still a planetary fortress here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map that is completely unscouted. And I can't help but wonder what will happen once Valmalisk realizes that this has been going on here for a little while longer. Once again, locusts are going to fly through the sky. I don't think that these liberators are going to be able to deal with them that easily. That siege tank does look like it will end up dying. Nice little bit of micro actually right there by the Zerg player. And truth be told, he's getting an awful lot of value out of all of the units that he's been creating in this game, right? I mean, these are essentially all of the Zerg spellcasters, and the Zerg spellcasters are very good at cost efficiency. They just simply provide more value, the more energy and the more cooldowns they accumulate, right? And even though, well, that was not really a whole lot of energy accumulation right there on that one, but and even though the Swarmhost is technically, you know, technically speaking not considered to be a spellcaster, it really functions as one regardless. Now this base, it's been acquired a little while ago. It's not really getting all that much value just yet. Liberators once again picking up more and more queens, and I think, right, and I don't want to be preemptive, but I think that the longer that this goes on, the more this will go in favor of the Terran player. Just because he's mining more right now, even though he had zero workers remaining just a couple of minutes ago, the mules brought him back at a point where he could afford a whole lot more stuff. There we go. He's finally gonna end up... No, is he gonna... Please send them, you know, for the hug of love right there, and then send them back towards that single mineral patch. Please do it, Zuki. Yes! Send them back, dude. You gotta mine that single mineral field. It's got 45 minerals remaining. You gotta get that. There you go, buddy. Mine it all. But I think that even though this is all going on, right, then I would say there is room for improvement here for both players. I gotta say, I love the hug of love. I love the Swarmhost cheese. I love the counter-attack aggression with the Banshees, and then the switch towards the Infestors. But I think that the longer this goes on, the Terran Mules just simply brought so much more value, right? Even though every single last, and actually he just morphed in another Drop Alert right here. Every single last of the Terran SCVs ended up dying. It's pretty hard to kill a Terran player if you do not shut down literally all of their economy, because the mules, I mean, they provided a ton of value. Now, eventually, though, the lair ends up falling. A newly acquired base, of course, is gonna continue mining here for a little while longer. Valmalisk has now also realized that he needs to hit the injects a little bit more. He's done a pretty good job at spending all of it. Apparently, this is going to be Zuki's way of dealing with the tech structures that are located here. At the same time, though, there is a dropper lord right here. So an overlord that indeed does have the Ventral Sax research done. That's gonna go ahead and drop maybe a couple of swarm hosts. I don't really know exactly what his plan is. Now, the main base is indeed mined out. Zuki, though, he knows that he's got another base, right? And Valmalisk, he currently has no idea about the base here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. I'm just simply gonna assume that... yeah, there's really no way here for Zuki to lose this one, right? I mean, there's not really a proper way here for the Zerg player to deal with all of these air units. And sure, he's once again gonna try and sneak his way into that main command center. Zuki, however, he's decided that he needs to stop playing around. He's starting to create the best unit in the game, known as the Marine. The Marine, obviously, one of the most well-rounded and most powerful units in the entirety of StarCraft 2. There we go, look at him, queuing up those Marines like a boss. He heard me make the comments in the future about his macro in the past, I suppose, and he is queuing up all of those resources, making sure that he is going to be capable of producing at least a couple of them, because right now he hit a supply block right after it. But doesn't really matter at this point, though, because I think that Zuki is just simply going to be capable of producing more stuff than his opponent. Swarm hosts are once again going to try and continue dealing a little bit of damage. Apparently, they're going to go after the tech lab and then this starport here as well. I don't think they're going to be able to do a whole lot. At the same time, though, the Ravens, as well as the Marines, made their way towards the last final mining drones here for the Zerg player. They are going to be pulled off the line as well. They're going to try and deal the damage that they can. This is not what they were created for, however, and the Marines, I mean, they just simply stood tall, right, with their combat shields in hand. They do not have time for Stimpak or anything along those lines, although a couple of reinforcing Zerglings will be able to pick them off. I think that once again, once these Marines continue walking down the ramps and these auto turrets get activated, slowly but surely, Zuki will be able to inch out a victory. Still not really realizing, though, that he was supply blocked there for a little while. Or at the very least, I mean, Valmalisk, he's just gonna continue onwards, man. He doesn't give up. Never stop fighting, right? Never surrender. Make sure that you get yourself every single last of these Terran buildings done for. Even if you've got only a single dropper lord. Oh, no! Oh, man, he did drop off the swarmos there in the nick of time. But even though this is going to be the case, apparently the Swarmos has got a bit of a death wish. He's burrowing right underneath Ravens. I don't know if you realize this, the fact that these Ravens are quite literally detectors. And the last of the Swarmos also does end up spinning towards that victory. Look at that. Best fidget spinner 2017 easily. That was beautiful. I would buy one of those. I don't really like the normal ones, and I guess that hype is already over, but that was my favorite fidget spinner of the year. Valmalisk eventually GG's out of this match. Zuki becomes the victor, and this was a bit of a wild game. I think this most definitely qualifies as a bit of a strange game. Now, like I mentioned, if you've got a wild match yourself as well, go ahead and submit it to replays at LowkoTV. If you like watching these kind of games, however, and you have not already, do make sure you hit that like button down below, but also make sure you subscribe so you get a notification as soon as I upload the next one. Other than that, I want to thank you very much so for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you in the next one.